Hey friends, Nancy here with another Yin 10. Today we're going to be moving through our half saddle pose. So we'll be getting into the ankles and the knees. So I'll show you some options if those areas are particularly tight for you. But let's go ahead and dive in. So we'll start back in a tabletop position. So you can kind of inch the legs behind you. You'll want to have maybe a block handy, maybe a pillow or a blanket will work nicely as well. I'm actually going to just have my blanket handy at my side. What we're going to do is we're going to start to just inch the left foot forward of us. So it's almost like we're coming into a lunge position. And we'll start by just sitting back onto a block or your prop of choice and begin to uncurl the right toes. So as you come back, you'll start to feel the front of the ankle, the knee joint, maybe roll the calf out of the way a little bit to create more space. And maybe you don't already feel this. If that's the case, you can take your prop down another level. See if you start to notice something here. And whenever you find a stopping point, you just stop taking yourself deeper. So you can also come all the way to the floor. If you're ready for that, it can be a little intense, especially if you do a lot on your feet. So feel free to stay lifted the whole time. Now, your knee does not have to point directly forward. You can play around with the angle, whatever feels right for your joints. I'm going to let my left leg kind of drop out like half butterfly. And then from here, we're going to begin to lower back if you feel ready. If you're getting enough sensation upright, just stay here the whole time. If you feel like this is a little too much in the ankle, no matter what you do, the alternative I'd like to show you is using a blanket rolled up under the front of the ankle. It's a nice option. It takes a lot of the sensation back a layer. If this is all too much, you can come back to a child's pose or something similar and just slide the blanket under your hips. So whatever works for you. Now, when you're ready, starting to lower back, you can come back as far as your forearms, maybe a bolster if you're elevated on a prop. If you're not elevated on a prop, you are welcome to come all the way down if you're ready for that. I'm going to use something for the back of my head as well. And then you're just coming down, letting the body just kind of splay open here. The arms can go wherever they feel comfortable. And just start to focus on the quality of your breath. So not doing much more than that. Just breathing. And your breath kind of starts to reveal to you where there's work to be done, where there's overlaying layers of connective tissue, of fascia, where there's discomfort in the mind, discomfort in the body. It starts to reveal all of that, like it's opening up a little book of yourself that you get to read through. And just like when you're reading a book, you're kind of detached from the storyline to a degree. You know it's just a book. The things that you notice, yes, of course, are part of your experience in this moment, but just recognize you don't have to grasp onto them. You can just read them. You can turn the page whenever you're ready to let it go. And of course, as you find space, you're always welcome to go deeper if you're ready for it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go deeper if you find space. Sometimes going deep in yin is staying exactly as you are and just spending more time. If you're in kind of the fullest expression of this pose all the way down on your back and you want to add even bit more, you can bend into the left knee, pointing it up toward the ceiling. Maybe you even draw the left knee in toward the chest. Totally an option. This will intensify the stretch through the front of the leg and the hip joint. So you decide what you need here. About 3 more breaths wherever you are. And then whatever you've added on, start to let it go. We'll start to make our way up one little step at a time, especially if you're all the way reclined. Really take your time. So coming up inch by inch. You can just lean to the left and slide that right leg out in front of you. Maybe take a moment in your staff pose and just kind of shake the knees, releasing the ankles, whatever feels nice. And then we'll start to move to the other side. So we'll start in a table once more. Go ahead and uncurl the left toes. We'll step the right foot forward like we're going for a lunge. And then start with the same props as before. So this side might be totally different than the first side was, and that's okay. Give yourself permission to take it step by step. Going deeper over time until you find your Goldilocks position, as Bernie Clark calls it. A place that doesn't feel too much or too little, but just right. Once you've found that in the legs, you can start to make your way back into a reclined position. And this side doesn't have to be exactly the same as the other side physically. It's not energetically. So it might translate into what it looks like in your body. And that's okay. Make adjustments. Give yourself some grace where you need it. Continuing to take the pose deeper if you want to, whenever those pockets of space open up. So no agenda, just listening to what your body needs. You added that same variation before, variation adding the leg lift. You can start to draw your right knee up and then draw it slightly in. Just if it feels good. Usually one of our legs is a little tighter than the other. So if this side is good side number 2, make sure you back off. Don't force anything to happen. The breath continues to move to nourish and support you here wherever you are. And releasing when you're ready. So unleashing one little step at a time, however it works best for you. And we'll just come up again into our staff pose, just extending the legs, shaking them out. Maybe give yourself a little massage. Spread the fingers, the toes. And then from here, we'll just take a moment seated. I thank you for sharing your practice with me.